Welcome back to Chasing the Target. After a break yesterday, we are back, and the countdown to the India versus Australia Test Series is continuing. There's plenty to discuss today. We'll be talking about fast bowling. Fast bowling might not be used in abundance in this series, but it will be used effectively. You have some world-class bowlers in display. Today, news came in that Hazelwood will be missing the first test and potentially the second test as well. That's a big blow for Australia, but they do have Scotty Boland as backup. He'll probably come in. Stark might come in the second test match as well. But it'll be Pat Cummins, that man. The pressure will be on him. The workload will be on him. But again, like I mentioned, in India, you might not use pace as much, but Australia themselves, they will be looking at pace. They will be looking at speed. They'll be looking at the new ball, reversing the old ball. Because if you remember in 2004, also it was Glenn McGrath and Gillespie who were their best two bowlers. In a team with Shane Warne as well. It was these two fast bowlers who picked up the wickets and really strangled India. And again, the fast bowlers will be looking to a job for India. The likes of Siraj, Shami, even Umesh Yadav has been very effective. They've been used in short bursts in Indian conditions and been very effective and really. Whether it's cleaning up the tail or making early inroads, they've been effective. So we will talk about fast bowlers. Hopefully, my co-host will be joining me soon. In other news as well, the SAT20 is on, and Sunrise have made a very good comeback. It was 119 for 0, I think, in 14 overs. Faf was smashing it, and then a very good spell from Markram. Great captaincy as well. Field placements were very good. And some good death overs have restricted, JSK to 160. So that game is also going on. It's an interesting game. And that's exactly what Ibrahim Bhai is talking about. High Sunrise made a good comeback in the current match against Super Kings to restrict them to 160 in 20 overs. Absolutely. It was a very good comeback. I really enjoyed Markram's captaincy in this first innings, the way he placed the fields, the way he used himself. He brought himself on in a tricky situation and actually controlled the scoring, picked up wickets himself. Only in that just one over, it kind of changed the momentum as well. So very good captaincy from there. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well, having a good Sunday. There is a big series to look forward to. Let me know what your thoughts are in terms of the fast bowlers. We will look at some stats as well, some cool graphics in a bit. But yeah, let me know what you think. In terms of fast bowling, who has? I think with Hazelwood not being there, it's a big blow for Australia because Hazelwood and Cummins, despite Stark's injury, Hazelwood and Cummins, they're a lethal pair. Very accurate. But without him being there, it will be a blow. Boland's lack of experience in India, that's going to be a concern. So I'm not sure. Lance Morris is there as well in the squad. That extreme pace he has. I don't know if he's going to start. Again, lack of experience. Cummins is someone we saw in 2013, was it? I think, or 17. I think in 17. Sorry, yeah, in 17 when he came back after a long time. We saw him bowl really well. He has that off cutter in him as well. He can use the slowness of the pitch. If there's any turn on offer, he'll use that as well. He's very good at getting the ball to swing off the seam as well. Movement, he can get the ball to reverse, and he bowls tirelessly. He can bowl plenty of overs. It's completely different now after his injury. Early on in his career, he's completely changed. If you look, I think in the last 50 games, he's played 46 test matches for Australia. Yeah, and if you compare him to the likes of Archer, Bumrah, and the other guys, and even Shaheen to a certain extent, Cummins is playing a lot of test cricket. He doesn't miss games. He bowls plenty of overs. He's very consistent in his line in length, wherever he bowls in any conditions. And I think that's the strength that Australia has. Vinesh Bhai Bodre, Lance Morris will play instead of Boland, eagerly waiting for this series. Okay. Is that, I don't know how true that is, or if that's your opinion. I think Lance Morris, if he plays, yeah, he will give you that extra pace. But I think that's a bit of a risk. Boland just gives you a bit of more control. the start that he's had in his career, I think Boland just gives you that bit of just a bit of control, a bit of X factor. I know Lance Morris gives you the X factor, but Boland just gives you that consistency, line and length. He can bowl with the new ball as well, and he's a wicket taker. He knows when to make partnerships, how to make partnerships. So merrily, I think I would start with Boland if he's fully fit. From India's point of view, Siraj has been had an outstanding last few months in particular. Again, with the red ball, it's been a good few years that Siraj has done really well, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in India itself. He's done very well with the new ball. He's done well with the older ball. He'll get the ball to reverse. He has a bit of nip on him as well. He can hit that 140 mark if needed. Chirag bhai, hello. Thank you so much for joining, and welcome to the show. We will get to KL Rahul at some point, I'm sure, with you around. But yeah, today the topic is the fast bowlers. Boland will not be useful in these conditions because you need speed for reverse swing. That's true. That is true to a certain extent, but you also need that accuracy. And I don't know if Lance Morris will provide that. I mean, you could go with him and try it out and see how it works. If he is accurate, if he and he gets and he bowls in the short bursts, then maybe he can be effective. It also depends on how many overs Cummins will want to bowl his fast bowlers, and that will all depend on the pitch. Again, there is something in it for the faster bowlers. If it's not a rank turner from day one, then he might need someone who can bowl longer spells, maybe like a Boland. But if you need somebody in short bursts, then Lance Morris is probably your guy. India have called up two more right arm off spinners as net bowlers. Australia have Mahesh Vitia bowling in the nets, and his action is very similar to Ashwin. He is just slightly short in height. I saw that. I saw the video where the Ashwin look-alike in terms of bowling. He was bowling those deliveries. I think Alex Carey also gave an interview on that, and they're preparing well. It's like getting into the exam time, and this week they've been preparing in a camp just outside of Bangalore or in Bangalore, and they've been trying all these different things, trying to play turn and basically getting up for this series. You can tell for Australia, this is always the final frontier. And again, for Pat Cummins side, they will try to prepare as best as possible to get the best result here in India. Australia जब पहले भी इंडिया टूर पे आ रही, जब बोलते हुए नहीं देखे जितना अब देखना है. Yeah, I think ऑस्ट्रेलिया अब तो माइंड गेम्स तो खेलने वाले हैं, अभी थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस लेके आएंगे. और अगर आप देखें इंडिया में भी थोड़े कंसर्न्स है, तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया विल लुक टू try to expose that, whether it's that number 5 slot, whether it's the opening slot as well. अब देखो रोहित शर्मा को देख लो आप. मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था एक आर्टिकल, रोहित शर्मा भाई तो आई थिंक 2 ही टेस्ट खेले एज कैप्टन सो फार, वो भी न्यूजीलैंड के अगेंस्ट आई थिंक एट होम. उसके बाद ही मिस्ड द साउथ अफ्रीका टूर, ही मिस्ड दैट वन ऑफ टेस्ट सीरीज अगेंस्ट इंग्लैंड, ही मिस्ड द बांग्लादेश टूर. तो we don't know what type of red ball form Rohit Sharma will be in, what type of starts that he can produce for India. KL Rahul, we know what form he's in. He's just been under the scanner. He's been under pressure. He's just not performing. So Australia will look to expose that, whether it's with the new ball, whether it's with the spinners. They will definitely look to put India under pressure. From India, I will pick Umesh and Siraj, but Shami and Siraj will play. But for me, Umesh has awesome record in Asia, and he has speed and control, and also he's known for reverse swing. I agree with that to a certain extent, where Umesh Yadav has been outstanding. He's been phenomenal in India, especially in series where Shami's been injured, where Bumrah has not played. In Indian conditions, he's come and he's led that attack. He's guided the legs of Siraj and the younger bowlers as well. And I agree to a certain extent that he could play. But again, Umesh, 35, will he last the whole series? I don't know if he'll play every single game. Will he have the stamina to go through the long distance? These are the questions I have personally from Umesh Yadav. But yes, if you just look at his record in Indian conditions on these pitches, he's done very well. अंशुल भाई बोल रहे हैं केएल राहुल मिडिल में आ गया, गिल ओपन करेगा लग रहा है. मुझे उल्टा लग रहा है अंशुल भाई, मगर अगर ये भी हुआ तो ठीक है. आई थिंक शुभमन गिल डिजर्व्स दैट स्लॉट. ही इज बीन ओपनिंग इन ऑल फॉर्मेट्स राइट नाउ, डन, ही इज बीन किलिंग इट. तो बट मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि गिल माइट कम नंबर 5 इन केएल राहुल ओपनिंग द वाइस कप्तान तो खेलेगा. लाइक देयर इज नो डाउट कि KL Rahul will be playing that first test match unless there's a fitness or any other doubt. I think he will definitely play that test match. Or Vinesh bhai, aap kya bol rahe hain abhi? What are you expecting from Virat, and this successful or not? What I'm expecting is a better performance against spin, using his feet a bit more, like trying to smother the spin, but at the same time using a straighter bat. I think sometimes if you try to play square of the wicket on turning pitches, it could lead to your downfall. call. I think Virat Kohli has a beautiful straight bat. He just needs to use that a bit more and try to minimize risk. But at the same time, I've heard people say that he needs to play aggressive. He needs to think. But yeah, you need to play aggressive, but also your defensive technique needs to be solid. Once your defensive technique, once you have a solid foundation, and you have that front foot defense or back foot defense, then it allows you to score the shots, hit those shots, and play aggressive. Because if you remember, Shoaib Akhtar also said in an interview, for me the most deflating thing used to be, I'm quoting him, run in from all the way from the boundary line and then bowl a quick ball and Rahul Dravid talk just straight bats it. It used to be the most annoying thing for him. And that's the thing. If you can solidify your defense, then your attacking options will come. The bowlers will tire and you can take it from there. I know Baz ball and everything is completely different. It's in a modern era. But I think what Virat Kohli needs to do is just focus on his defensive technique, be solid in defense, and then he can play his shots and get into rhythm. Mustafa, if Shami is fit and in rhythm, there's no chance he will sit out. We have seen how lethal he is in the second innings. And if he is fit and rhythm, then Shami is your strike bowler. Shami and Siraj, for me, are your bowlers, and Shami's done really well in test matches for India. He's been Virat Kohli's go-to guy in test matches over the last 5-6 years. He's led this revolution in pace bowling for India, along with Jasprit Bumrah. So yeah, I think Shami will be go-to guy. But Umesh Yadav is also an option there. Also, again, like what I said with Umesh, Shami has a few years on him as well. I think Shami is 32, whereas Umesh is 35. So that gives Shami the edge as well. Your pace bowler for India, me, Umesh, and Siraj. I'll go Siraj and Shami. Those are my two options, and they'll probably go three spinners. I would prefer Kuldeep, Ashwin, and Jadeja, but I think they'll go Jadeja, Aksar, and Ashwin. Oh my God, Faf ne 100 miss kar diya. Haan, bhai, Sunrisers coming back and pulling things back and putting a break on the scoring. Very good captaincy from Markram, very good bowling from Markram as well, and good death bowling from the Sunrisers. First test में अक्सर या जडेजा कौन को मौका मिलेगा? भाई ऐसा दिख रहा है कि दोनों को मौका मिलेगा, मगर अगर चूज करूं तो मैं जडेजा ही चूज करूंगा. I know it is very harsh on Aksar, and I don't have much to support my argument, but it's just a call because I think there's two spinners who are similar. So I think I would just go Jadeja. But मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है they will go Jadeja and Aksar. What Aksar does bring, where he's slightly different, is थोड़ा सा round arm ज़्यादा है Jadeja से, and he comes wider from the crease. So there is a bit of difference there. But if you're just looking at bowling style, in terms of the deliveries that they're going to bowl, it could be similar. That's why I was saying Kuldeep. But overall, I think they both will play. But if I had to choose one, I'll choose Jadeja. If Sunrisers win, they give Cape Town a chance to qualify for the semis. And what is Sunrisers' chances for qualifying for the semis? I hope they do win. It's a gettable score, so they need a good start and then they need to finish it. As Jadeja, Kuldeep should play. You need variety. That's what I also think. I'm in the similar opinion. Also, let me know, guys, what do you think fast bowlers wise? Would we see in this series at any point them playing three seamers, India or Australia? Like I mentioned, in 2004 when Australia did beat India, they played three seamers over there. They used to play three seamers and a spinner. Will Australia look to that in any sort of pitch or any sort of ground? What do you guys think? And who should be Australia's bowlers? Let me know what you think as well. With Hazelwood out, is it Boland and Cummins? Will it be Morris and Cummins? Sunrisers win, they qualify as they will be on 23 points, so you need a victory. चाचू मैं देखा भाई चाचू तो फोड़ के रख दिया आज 36 runs and over, वो भी वहाब रियाज को दे दिया. Incredible batting, and this guy, man, I'm telling you, he's gold in this Pakistan T20 lineup. Out of nowhere उसको वनडे में भी खिलाना चाचू को, क्या मार रहे भाई, without any fear. Yep, in Dharamshala, we can see three pacers. Yeah, I mean, potentially from both sides, we could see three pacers. But India also have, sometimes they go to these kind of conditions and they make the opposition feel, you can play your pacers. And then India themselves actually play two pacers and three spinners, whereas the opposition plays three or four seamers. It happened with England, I think, as well, in Ahmedabad or somewhere, where they thought it was going to be a green pitch and England played the extra seamer, whereas India went with Aksar as the extra spinner. So it could be that as well. There will be mind games as well. I'm looking forward to some press conferences leading up to the match. Rohit Sharma's press conference, like I said, how he's going to use these fast bowlers. The topic today is about fast bowlers. So how he's going to be use Siraj, Shami? Will there be times where they don't even open the bowling? Will there be times where they just use the older ball or just the new ball where you have a burst of a few overs? How long the spells will be? Because if you are playing three spinners, then in general your faster bowlers will just rotate from one end. So these are the questions that I have, and let's see what Rohit Sharma does. And think from Cummins' point of view, of course, he'll be a bit slightly different. I think he'll use himself a bit more than Rohit will use his pacers. He will use his himself and the pacers a bit more, and he'll try different things. Like I said, he has a very good off cutter on him as well. So if the pitch is conducive to turn, he won't be shy in using that. I think also it'll go from pitch to pitch. It's not like just in Nagpur. If there's a certain kind of pitch, it's not necessarily be the same pitch in Delhi. So it'll go from conditions to conditions. But in general, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा कि Australia will use pacers a bit more and India will use it a bit less. Have you seen the Asia Cup news that India will not travel to Pakistan and final venue to be decided in March? Yes, I saw that they're going to decide in March. It looks like I have a feeling that it's going to be in the UAE, the Asia Cup, and Pakistan is saying they might not go to the World Cup, but I think they will. I just hope it gets resolved. Whatever it is gets resolved, and I want Pakistan to play in that World Cup. They have to play in that World Cup. It increases competition, and you want to see talent on display. You don't want any team missing out because of other kind of circumstances. So yeah, I'm just waiting for my co-host to come in, and we can talk more about the fast bowling. Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion on that matter in terms of the Asia Cup. ये अश्विन की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, कुलदीप आउट ऑफ सिलेबस ना आ जाए. हाँ बिल्कुल सही है. देखो अश्विन की तैयारी कर रहे हैं उन लोग और कुलदीप आके मतलब विकेट्स ले लें. अक्सर भी आउट ऑफ सिलेबस भी हो जा सकता, तो ये भी हो सकता. मुझे भी ऐसा लग रहा है अंशुल भाई की इंडिया के लिए लवुशेन स्मिथ ये लोग भी आउट ऑफ सिलेबस हो सकते हैं इंडिया के लिए. ये भी हो सकता है. आप देखें जो रूट आके 5-5 विकेट ले रहा था पिछली सीरीज जब इंग्लैंड टूर लगाई थी इंडिया की. तो आई थिंक इन दैट सेंस दैट इंडिया आल्सो नीड टू बी अ बिट केयरफुल, एंड सो डू ऑस्ट्रेलिया. Ashwin is someone like with the 4 left-handers there. That's why they're practicing, because he has an excellent record against left-handers, and potentially if Renshaw comes in for Green, then they have 5 left-handers. So इसलिए Ashwin का threat शायद ज़्यादा लगेगा, because Rohit Sharma will use him more against left-handers, and that's why they're practicing against that. And Ashwin is relentless even against right-handers. If there is turn, he gets that extra bounce as well. Back pad comes into play, and he will be a threat for Australia. So इस हिसाब से that's why I think they're practicing more, and Ashwin will bowl plenty of overs. But हाँ बिल्कुल सही, you have to prepare for all the bowlers, not just Ashwin. You have to prepare for Jadeja, Akshar and Kuldeep. It won't be an easy task. And also let me know in the comments what you think from the faster bowlers, who will pick the most wickets in this series. Just give me one name. I'll go Cummins, just because I think he's going to bowl more overs, so I'm going to go with Pat Cummins. But overall though, I'm going to probably pick a spinner. But fast bowlers like who you guys think will be the leading wicket taker for India, for both teams. Yes sir. Oh, what else? Yeah, I'm just waiting on Mr. Faiz Ali Tahir to come in. He has some cool graphics, so do hang on, bear with us. And he is arriving, I think, or he is, and he's gone again. हाँ, तो मैं ये भी बोल रहा था कि for India also, it's about making that impact, those early inroads against Australia. Like like if Siraj Shami can, with that new ball, get the ball to swing a bit, it will give them it might send Australia a message that, listen, like whatever the conditions, will definitely challenge you. Also, I just feel that Siraj and Shami, because they played Ranji Trophy, they played on these pitches, they have different ways to get wickets on these kind of pitches, whereas Australia might be found unstuck. Yes, I know Australia were very good in Pakistan, but in Indian conditions it will be a bit slightly difficult. Travis Head and Labuschagne could play as a role as bowlers. Yes, Travis Head as well, I forgot about him. He can definitely come and bowl some good spinning bowlers. Surya को मौका मिलेगा क्या अपनी पोस्ट पे रेड बॉल का फोटो लगाया है। ये देखो मौका मिल सकता है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि शुभमन गिल को पहला मौका मिलेगा, फिर सूर्या को। लेकिन हाँ, बिकॉज Shreyas Iyer is not there, Surya Kumar is an option at number 5, and it will be a challenge whoever it is, whether it's Surya, whether it is Shubman. अब Surya को हम बोल रहे थे कि भाई वनडे में थोड़ा टाइम लेके खेलो, क्या कर रहे हैं, अब टेस्ट मैच में क्या करता है वो पता नहीं, but he might just be that X factor again, right? Like playing those reverse sweeps, he can play that punt kind of role where you try to mess with the length of Nathan Lyon or Ashton Agar or whoever the bowlers are and put the spinners under pressure. You remember Joe Root, he said he took a lot of time to declare against India in that first test match when he scored double 100, and he said the reason I did that was because of Rishabh Pant. Others are declared way earlier. So sometimes you need an aggressive batsman, but again Rishabh Pant jab tak Gaba ka bhi kar diya tha, he was a manjawa khiladi in test cricket. Surya is yet to be that, so it will be a risk to play him, but he definitely has a chance. I would probably go with Shubman Gill at number 5. And KL Rahul to open. मैं वैसा देख रहा हूँ basically. ओह सलाम वालेकुम, सांस चले जाती थी मेरी।
अरे सॉरी सर, ये क्या है कि गिचियां चल रहे हैं यहाँ पे। खैर, as an about when we go, I'll try adding it. Everybody hello and welcome to Chasing the Target. I know शुरुआत हो गई, काफी टाइम हो गया। मुस्तफा भाई सॉरी, पानी पी लीजिए आप। But yeah, it's gonna be, I'm very eagerly awaiting for everyone to see the graphics we've made, and hopefully you guys like it, आपको पसंद आए। बट या काफी सारी बातें हो गई हैं। यस, चाचू का भी सिक्सेस देखे मुस्ताफा, टू मच। चाचू क्या कि ग्लूकॉन डी पी के आगे उस दिन वहां रियाज के सीधा बोले पॉलिटिक्स चले जाओ, या नको ये क्रिकेट है, अब पॉलिटिशियन बन गया। सो
चाचू वनडे टीम में जरूरी है चाचू का। क्या आई नो T20 था ये, मगर क्या छक्के मारे यार, वो खतरनाक कर दिया। एंड वहाब रियाज is probably ending his career with those 6 sixes, but I know that was like, what was that, like a practice game?
But the ground looked like very small, right? The ground was very small, if I'm not wrong.
It was a practice game in the PSL, I think. It wasn't like, first I thought Bangladesh Premier League, but it was a practice game, I think. So चलता वो, but
maybe वही समझा। but yeah, 6 sixes on any ground, in anything, in any format, इधर बेइज्जती की बात है भाई, कुछ भी बोलो। वहाब रियाज को बेइज्जत करके छोड़ दिया चाचू एज के हिसाब से भी। एंड या इट्स जस्ट फिनोमिनल। बट या आई थिंक you want to start जो डिस्कशन है, जो मुद्दा है, जो थंबनेल पे फास्ट बॉलरों को डाले अपन, नीड फॉर स्पीड,
ट्रैफिक के लिए वेट कर रहे हैं बस।
it's going to be a need obviously, but spin is obviously going to be crucial as well, which we'll discuss also in the coming episode. spin के बारे में बात करेंगे। मैं ऐड करने की कोशिश कर रहा था बिहाइंड, आई थिंक हमारे व्यूअर्स देखे होंगे, हम स्नीक पिक देना चाह रहे थे, बट वो कुछ मसला हो गया, जिसकी वजह से we were not able to add it. But yeah, I'll go about and start adding one by one so that we can understand what everyone's rai is. So this is the first one, hopefully.
Ibrahim Bhai Singh exhibition match in Quetta. Yeah, it was that sort of thing. Mohammad Shami.
तो ये है शमी भाई, overall of what we think of Shami. So as it speaks, we know that this guy is काफी experienced bowler है। I know उनको ऊपर नीचे होते जाता है, like he gets injured and then he comes back phenomenally well. And then recent अगर अपन tournaments देख रहे, श्रीलंका, न्यूजीलैंड में थोड़ी बहुत उनको criticize करे थे, but then he came back always, right? He always comes back, उनको come back करने की आदत है। he becomes economical, he becomes wicket to wicket। जो 6 ओवर डाले थे उन्होंने, I think second या first ODI में जवाब दिए थे to people who were saying he's not what he was, बुमराह की जरूरत है, ये वो है। but I think he's always been a good replacement when in Bumrah's absence, he's always taken charge of the fast bowling। so yeah, what are your thoughts on Shami, and based on these figures, how crucial do you think कि रहने वाला है for us against Australia?
With Shami, the first thing that comes to mind in Test cricket is second innings Shami. In second innings, उन्हें different beast हो जाता है. He just comes, explodes, and picks up wickets and wraps up things for India. If you see, in tours to England, South Africa, Australia as well, he's been lethal in the second innings. And there was criticism first innings, he doesn't start as smoothly, it takes some time, but I think he's worked on that as well. You see that average is phenomenal, man. Under 30 from Shami, he's picked up plenty of wickets, 200 plus, so he has that experience. In Indian conditions, again, he has the ability to reverse the ball, which is very, very crucial. He has that extra pace. And I think, of course, he's going to be the spearhead once again in this series. He'll start off with Siraj, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And with the new ball, old ball, he's really developed his game. I think consistency also, line and length. He has a good short ball on him. He can rush the batsman, and he bowls to his field as well. He said sometimes he tries different things. He tries to bowl straighter, and that's a khasiyat hai Indian fast bowlers. If you notice, compared to the Australian bowlers, Indian bowlers bowl more wicket to wicket, especially in Indian conditions. And so, if there's any movement, whether with the older or newer ball, they have that ability to hit the pad or get hit the wicket. So that's a khasiyat hai Shami ka. And whether it's bowling full, short, he bowls with full throttle and will always make it uncomfortable. Huh? But those are my thoughts on Mohammad Shami. He has 6 5 wicket hauls as well, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, no, Indian bowlers they're more disciplined. Obviously, home condition like advantage रहता है कि भाई home में डाल रहे, we know this wicket like the back of our hand अपने घर में डाल रहे. But Shami also if he gets a little bit movement and he has a lot of that Yorker in him, that is also going to be crucial. I think Usman Khwaja को and Labuschagne and Travis Head. I mean, we know कि भाई इंडिया स्पिनिंग विकेट रगा बनाने वाले हैं, थोड़ी बहुत मूवमेंट होने वाले. But I think Shami कैसा भी करके he finds a way to find those wickets, those crucial breakthroughs that we require. हमेशा एक breakthrough की जरूरत रहती है to accelerate the innings. अरे आगे बढ़ाओ जल्दी जल्दी फिनिश करो. एंड शामी कहीं ना कहीं से एक बोर्ड ला लेता है, कॉर्ड बैंड ला लेता है. तो या इट्स गोना बी अ क्रूशियल. या 9 wickets in a match, 6 wicket haul, 5 wicket hauls, name it, this guy has it. But हमारे जितने भी हमारे साथ ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, आपके क्या थॉट्स है शामी पे? आपको क्या लगता है कि शामी का इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा ये गेम में? इज ही गोइंग टू बी वेरी क्रूशियल फॉर अस, या आपको कंप्लीटली स्पिनर्स का गेम लगने वाला है? तो या लेट अस नो दैट. But
And
yeah,
you know,
definitely one guy to watch out for.
one thing that could be a downfall for him in one day cricket is actually a strength in test cricket, and that is when kabhi kabhi he just changes his length immediately. He tries something different, and that more often than not it can lead to a boundary in one day cricket. But in test cricket it produces a wicket, whether it's a surprise short delivery, whether it's a yorker, whether it's good length which just bounces a bit more on the batsman. So I think it's because of that red ball also. He just understands the pitches a bit more, and when the pitches do crumble or they provide any kind of assistance, he knows how to get that red ball to talk. And then with the new ball, we know he's relentless. Like he's very accurate. He has swing and seam. He can do both. So I think that's uska khasiyat ye hai ki he tries different things, and whatever he does, he can surprise the batsman, especially in the red ball format.
Yeah, 100%. Moving to the second bowler in the Indian Army, in the Indian Arsenal, इसके बारे में तो obviously अपन थोड़े बहुत bias रहते हैं, हैदराबाद के हैं, but recent उसमें I think he's right now the number one bowler across ODIs, and he has just been phenomenal with his comeback, with his variations, उनका temperament, उनका aggression, and yeah, it's just been an amazing rebirth of him. So I'm just going to quickly present who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Siraj.
Not a lot of experience there initially. If you see कि हाँ भाई ज़्यादा इन्होंने matches नहीं खेले हैं टेस्ट स्फीयर में, and probably आगे जाके हमें ये भी मालूम होगा कि कितने विकेट्स कौन से देश में लिए और क्या होगा. Obviously we're going to come to those stats as well. But initial thought was about young boy, but based on the way he's been performing, the way he's been showing maturity in absence of Bumrah, or like Shami की experience में gap है दोनों में. How do you see Siraj ये कैसा perform करने वाला है, and how do you think उनका mental game रहने वाला है going into this BGT, because it's going to be a cracker?
Siraj is a successful product of Ranchi Trophy cricket. The amount of red ball cricket that he's played in India on those flat pitches, he's just developed this, not only accuracy skill, but just this nature to pick up wickets and, trouble the batsman on any kind of surface. And I think it's because itne overs one dala tha flat pitches pe, he's, he's learned different tricks in the bag, whether it's getting, steaming the ball off the pitch, using some cutters as well. He can do that. And in general, the control with the new ball, that's also improved. I think that's one thing that is improved, the new ball control. But the other stuff with the older ball, so he's always been really good. And he has I think this is his best format. Red ball cricket is his best format because he has a mature head on him. We say he's young, but I think he's 28, 29 now, so he is pretty mature now. And he's played in conditions like Australia as well. He's played against, he's led India's attack over there in at the Gabba at a very tender age and very little experience. Now he has much more experience compared to that. So he's fully developing. He's in the prime time of his life, and yeah, he will cause some issues for Australia. For me, both Shami and Siraj, the interesting thing will be is how much will Rohit Sharma will use him, because I just feel that Cummins will use himself and the other pacer more than the Indian pacers will be used. But I think Siraj has accepted that fact as well, because if you notice in past home series, he's been used limited time, but he knows exactly what his role is at that time, so he can adjust. When he needs to be the spearhead, he'll be the spearhead. Here, he probably knows he has to play second fiddle to Ashwin, Jadeja, and the likes. So I think even then he'll know ki bhai wicket kaisa nikalna. If you notice in that New Zealand home series, which India won, I think 1-0 over there as well, Siraj was used in very short bursts by Rohit Sharma, but he picked up wickets over there, whether it was the newer ball or older ball. So he understands his role in certain situations, and he doesn't get bogged down anymore. And with experience, it will always help for sure.
100%. I think you made good point when you say कि Siraj and Shami might not इतना use करेंगे for themselves. Like Rohit might not use them because Nagpur, it is a spinning wicket. काफी I think the anticipation ये भी है कि भाई day one से spinning शुरू हो जाएगी. And I think we have a good record over 4 wins है out of the 6 matches जो नागपुर में खेले. 4 तो इंडिया जीत चुकी है, एक I think opposition जीती भी है, and 1 was a draw. But yeah, I mean, Shami and Siraj जितना भी bowling करेंगे, I hope they manage to get some movement because the conditions in India थोड़ा बहुत है अभी भी, like winter ending बोल सकते हैं, but they might get early, new ball के साथ थोड़ा बहुत they might be able to get a little bit movement,
In
which will be
Dharamshala in
interesting.
particular,
Yeah, Dharamshala पे तो the faster wicket obviously थोड़ा बहुत you will see grass probably there. But yeah, not something maybe not very favored as Gava जैसा अपन बोलते हैं, but yeah, it's probably going to be thing. Moving to the Australian side, captain, leading into the series, the biggest test for, the captain and his boys. I mean, whenever I bola, this is all what sums up my captaincy. This is going to be the biggest test of my life because India में जीत के काफी साल हो गए Australia को. I think how long was it ago के last जीते थे? I think 15 years or something.
2004 was
15,
when
17, 2004, so yeah. Somewhere along 16, 15 years, like something like that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he manages. So the next one that we'll be presenting
quick
is
maths.
Mr. Pat Cummins.
So, so what I want to say about Pat Cummins, I think this guy is sensational, man. If you remember that, I think he made his debut 2011 or something like that, and then he just got injured for like 6 years. 6 साल injured हो गया. उसके बाद जो उन्हें pick करा, उन्हें injury नहीं हुआ उसके बाद. Like he's just been playing so much cricket. I mentioned that he played, I think, the last 46 out of 50 tests for Australia. If you notice the likes of Archer, Bumrah, Shaheen, this guy's been playing much more test cricket. He's playing more all format cricket. He comes and plays in the IPL as well, and he's relentless, tireless. इन्हें थकता नहीं भैया, घोड़े के जैसा है, खाली just comes in and bowls. It's not like खाली आके फेंकता बॉल को. He bowls with full intensity. He bowls with proper plans. आप पाकिस्तान के रोड में उसका एवरेज देख लो भाई, 24-25 कुछ था उसका एवरेज, and he was picking up wickets and there as well, where it was almost impossible for a fast bowler to pick up a wicket. He was picking up wickets there. So it shows that he has a brain on him. He has the skill, and he's not scared to try different things. That's why he's successful in all conditions. I think for Australia to win, he's one of the key bowlers after Nathan Lyon. People talk about Ashton Agar, they'll talk about the others, Swepson, but I think Cummins is your most important bowler after Nathan Lyon, because he also has good cutters on him, but older ball, newer ball, he will try different tricks, and he can just come into a spell and pick up 3-4 wickets, put pressure on India, and let Lyon wrap up the tail. That could also be an option. So for me, this guy is going to be the leading wicket taker in terms of fast bowlers, not spinners, but fast bowlers. He'll be the leading wicket taker if he's fully fit. The concern is who his strike partner will be, because Hazelwood, we got news today that he's going to be injured. If Hazelwood was there, I think it would have helped him more, but now it'll be either Boland or Morris. We're not sure, but I think that would be the only thing. But Pat Cummins himself, if you're looking as an individual in isolation, I think he's the best fast bowler right now going into this series from both teams.
Yeah, I think, man, and the way you mentioned कि भाई उसका ने vast experience है, उन्हें हर जगह खेल के he knows the different conditions, he knows how to rotate his bowling according to those conditions, and also not being an injury prone asset is की आजकल के जमाने अपन देख रहे हैं यंगस्टर्स यार कितना टाइम बुमराह को ही ले लो फॉर एग्जांपल, he's been out since like consistently आ रहा जा रहा एंट्री एग्जिट है. But this guy, since I think 2017 or something, he has been one of the most consistent, players for Australia. And I think he doesn't punch up his weight. I think he's very disciplined with himself because he knows himself very well. I think after a few injuries, you suddenly realize, okay, this thing is good for me, this thing is not good for me, and eliminating those things has sort of developed himself in terms of knowing कि हाँ भाई इतना मैं कर सकता हूँ इतना नहीं कर सकता वो भी एक important call रहता है and you have to be fair with yourself and yeah, he's certainly nailed that I think.
और एक
But yeah,
चीज
captains, yeah.
वही जो जिम्मेदारी कैप्टनसी की है वो लाइक द थिंग इज ही हैज टू कैलकुलेट ऑन हाउ ही थिंक्स विल बी द बेस्ट way for him to win a match in India. Because if you notice in 2004, when Australia last won in India, the best two bowlers in terms of wickets and average were Glenn Magra and Gillespie in a team where Shane Warne was present. Majood tha Shane Warne. So, we know that Nathan Lyon is there. You have options in Labuschagne. You, of course, you have Ashton Agar, Swepson Smith as well. But Cummins, I think, will need to play a role. He will have to bowl more overs than any of the faster bowlers in the series. And I think, there was a time where Australian bowlers used to come to India. The fast bowlers bowl outside that off stump, and make sure that because Indians are very good through the leg side, just bowl that outside stump. But then they realize that they're good at cutting as well and driving as well. So what Cummins needs to do is, if he's gonna, I think he needs to bowl stump to stump, have a pro leg side field, put an extra two fielders in the leg side and attack the stumps, because he has enough swing, seam, and even cutters variations to trouble the batsman. So if he's bowling wicket to wicket, either he can get a catch on the leg side or he can get a LBW board. So I think that's what Cummins needs to do. He needs to take a leaf out of Siraj and Shami's book and bowl a straighter line and length. And I think he needs to bowl himself a bit more, and he will be key. If Australia need to win this series, he will be your second most important bowler after Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very now based on what you said and all of these things. और ज़्यादा anxiety हो रही है कि भाई क्या होने वाला है, because spin तो मालूम है इंडिया में it's one of the most important things that they're going full fledged with exception के साथ जा रहे हैं. They're going with Agar, they're going with Lyon, but like fast bowlers की बात कोई ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं. ऑस्ट्रेलिया के already एक आध injury हो गई है fast bowler उनको, so that's also a hit. So it makes him all the more crucial to sort of take guard in the opening overs and sort of get a breakthrough. So yeah, it's a fair assessment, and hopefully we see some crack.
And historically, you've seen in India, of course, when this rank turners, तो फिर fast bowlers को चुप हो जाना पड़ता. But like if you have like a traditional Indian pitch, foreign fast bowlers, whether it's Dale Steyn, with Jimmy Anderson, Pat Cummins as well. In I think when he came in 2017, so like these guys have had match winning or match impacting spells where they come and take 3-4 wickets. So there is potential there for fast bowlers to make inroads, and because you still need to rely on your skill, you need to rely on your strengths, and Pat Cummins is one of Australia's strengths. Of course, there will be certain times where you have to take him out of himself out of the attack, especially on a rank turner or when on a day 5 pitch. But he will have a definite big role to play, and I won't be surprised if he might be a man of the match in one of the games as well. That's how much of an impact that Cummins can have if he's fully fit and bowling to his levels, basically.
Yeah. Now moving on to the next bowler, I mean, there's only like majority of the people anticipating ke in a team mein rahega, and obviously he's probably the only one left. Mitchell Stark is injured. Josh Hazelwood's injured. Abhi Lance Morris, I don't know if he's going to start, but he is a pacey bowler. But they really need that kind of a pace on an Indian wicket, which is going to spin or maybe turn into a potential spinning track? But based on whatever it is, I think we both probably agree that this guy might be coming into the squad in place of a Josh Hazelwood. So here is Scott Boland.
Scotty always picks up wickets early on, man. First over में 2-3 wicket खा लेता. He takes wickets in bunches. Yeah.
कुछ बीमारियां यार उसको 2 एक साथ कर रहा हूं. I mean not बच्चे, but I mean wicket because इन्हें अलग ही लेवल है यार कुछ. मैं साउथ अफ्रीका में
करो भाई इसकी. मैं समझा पैट कमिंस की बेस्ट एवरेज है. इसकी एवरेज चेक करो भाई. 12 की एवरेज.
But again इन्हें ज्यादा 6 मैचेस खेला. I mean
6 मैच में भी 12 का एवरेज लेके आ रहे हैं भाई आप. मतलब that is unheard of. एक मैच
और ये पूरा I think पूरे मैच ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है bro. So I mean again
I know, I understand.
He has to play different areas.
मगर first ये भी देखो कि he's your third option. He's not even your first or second or
first
your
option,
third backup. Stark नहीं है, Hazelwood नहीं है, so then you're going to him. Also Cameron Green potentially नहीं है. So he's your fourth option then. So that's the reason why you go looking out, and that is the reason because he doesn't have experience abroad. But I'm just looking at the positives from if I am Scott Boland or I'm an Australia supporter, I'm looking at the average. I'm very impressed. I'm looking at that economy rate. I'm very impressed. 5-wicket haul as well, 28 wickets. I know that it's going to be completely different conditions. He will be tested. It won't be as easy. Also, his pace is not as much as maybe the other faster bowlers. So then reverse swing ka, like, will he be as effective or not? That will be a question. But yeah, I think they'll just go with Boland because he's played those matches. Lance Morris ka risk yahi hai ki bhai, will he be able if there is some extra, what do you call it? If the pitch is conducive to fast bowling, will he be able to go that
Mhm.
extra mile and bowl those extra overs? That is the question. I think Boland can.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll
And
probably
he's
say.
played a lot of first class cricket also. Like Boland has played first class cricket for a lot for Australia. I think उसमें भी उनके 300 कुछ wickets है. He has a decent amount of experience in the red ball department. So yeah, in that thing you're right when you mentioned कि भाई he might be able to pick up those extra overs, and he will probably understand the conditions quickly. Obviously, it's not like he's a new cricketer or something. He has come over the ages. And we saw what he did in Australia again against South Africa. He picked up back-to-back wickets, and before that they played West Indies. He did the same thing. He has a knack for picking up wickets. He is also those kind of an aggressive, like a Siraj type of bowler where he gets riled up, sort of tries different things. So yeah, he's also one animated. So there's like a Siraj also there, and there's a Boland also here. It's kind of a that situation. Obviously, Siraj is a little bit more crazier for me because उन्हें कुछ भी लड़पने करके वो कर देता. But yeah, Boland अगर अपन Boland की बात करें, it is a thing. But for me, again, it'll be a very big test for him in Indian condition and how he bowls to the likes of Virat and Rohit and these guys.
Absolutely. Ideally, he would have liked to be not him, but Australia would probably like to have him on the bench initially. Watch
Yeah,
Stark and
and to
Hazelwood
start,
bowl in
yeah.
good conditions, and then take it from there. But now that he's probably in the firing line, I think he'll take that challenge head on. And you never know. Like fast bowlers who've come to India for the first time, also they've done well at certain times. It also brings that X factor. India don't know exactly how he's going to bowl, right? So wo bhi hai. India have never faced him, so that surprise
Yeah.
factor could be thing. And same thing with Lance Morris. If he's given a shout, one thing I noticed, his action is very smooth. He has a lot of pace, but his action is very smooth. So he's someone that who could cause problems for India if he does play. I just feel because Boland's already played Test cricket, it'll just be easier for him. Whereas Lance
Yeah.
Morris played, he's very raw compared to that. So that's the only reason why I would go Boland. And of course, whoever plays, it will be a challenge for them
Yeah,
because
100%.
Indian conditions is never easy. But they have Mr. Pat Cummins there to guide them as well. And how Pat Cummins uses them, being a bowler himself, I think that will give these guys more confidence because Pat Cummins knows exactly when to use them. He won't put them in the firing line just unnecessarily. He'll use them effectively. And sometimes if it's a rank, for example, if the first test match is a ranked runner, that might ease the nerves as well for Boland because he'll say, okay, fine, I don't need to bowl as much here. I can just bowl a few overs and try to get my feet in. And then when required, maybe in Dharamshala, he can come and bowl longer spells. So that could be a certain thing as well. And it's certainly an advantage when your captain is a bowler. I feel in these conditions because not only will he use himself, in a certain way, he'll also use you like in ways where you'll be a wicket taking option and you won't over bowl. I don't think he'll over bowl Boland and put
Yeah, I
him out.
think Cummins, the way I've seen him in the South Africa series also, सही करा. He didn't make a lot of like changes, obviously, because it was very evident that it was a very wavered pitches in Australia. It's bounce and speed and more conducive to speed rather than spin. But I think he knows to read the conditions very well. उन्हें समझता पिच के कंडीशन हालात, और इंडिया में I think काफी experience है इसको कि समझना कि अगर wicket is spinning then just take himself off, take out the likes of Boland and just get spin. And because now look, if you're looking at Swepson, Agar and all of these guys, I think team B obviously is through he's a part of the selection criteria or the committee, and definitely he's going to understand this pitch very well and assess accordingly. And yeah, like you said, he's also going to be a mentor to the likes of Boland. And yeah, that's also one thing to watch out for. But we've spoken about these guys individually, Mustafa. Let's just see head to head क्या रहने वाला है इन लोगों का, कैसा कौन से countries में कैसा खेलना, कैसा type of dismissals खेलना, what to if Kohli and all of these guys hopefully watch this, they can understand भाई कौन से बॉलों के साथ बच के रहना, कौन से बॉल ना देख के रहो. But yeah, we're just going to quickly compare the four of these bowlers side by side. I mean, it's not against each other, just to understand कैसे लोग हैं. So quickly we're just going to compare these guys.
Yeah, Ibrahim bhai, I was just checking the score, 23 for 3 Sunrisers.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
sad. So yeah, Shami and Cummins ka comparison. If we quickly want to run through this, Shami's a bit more like, I mean, they're almost equal on the equal length. Shami's just a bit more, tad more experience in the border Gavaskar, trophy. 8 matches खेल के 31 wickets ले चुके हैं वो. अगर अपन डिसमिसल टाइप देख रहे हैं, majority उनका caught है, caught just in the deep or on point or whatever it is. So yeah, so based on this, how do you like assess? We can definitely see Shamil experience. He knows how to pick up those wickets against those Australian sides. So what are your initial thoughts?
For me, the most interesting stats here, which actually backs up my argument, and I didn't know this, but it backs up my argument, is that Shami has 59 bowled and Cummins has 32 bowled, whereas Shami has caught behind 59 and Cummins has 70 caught behind. So that shows that Cummins does bowl that outside off stump line. I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
catches down the leg side as well, but he bowls outside off stump, whereas Shami is more wicket to wicket. He's trying to hit those stumps. And I think in India, it's more effective if you're going to bowl those. And maybe that's something that Cummins can probably look to do as well. Because just look at this, and also look conditions wise, it also dictates where you're playing, right? If Shami probably has more bowled because he's playing in India more, whereas Cummins is playing in conditions where the ball is swinging around the Gabba. So that's why he bowls that outside off stump and gets more caught behinds. But yeah, I was very fascinated with this stat where Shami has more wickets getting
Even LBW, if you see, I mean, like he's hitting the deck more and like more straighter. Like you say,
yeah,
LBWs
LBW
be
is
they top.
again. Shami is 34, Cummins is 19, right? So again, it's the same
Yeah,
thing. What I basically
yeah,
what I'm mentioning. So yeah,
yeah.
that's a very good stat. Both the wicket, the LBW, and both Shami has more, and it's dictated by the conditions that he plays in and the type of bowler he is. And I think Cummins will look to do that as well. Make no mistake, I think he will look to attack the stumps. And I think if Cummins is watching this, he'll also look at Shami stats and see कि भाई थोड़ा सीधा यहाँ पे डाले तो फायदा है.
नहीं छुपा लेंगे जल्दी स्टार्स नहीं कमेंट्स आप नहीं देखना है भाई ये इंडिया के लिए इंडिया का चैनल है बट नो आई मीन फेयर है कि भाई शामी एंड कमेंट्स heavily experienced really know these conditions really know the border Gavaskar and what's at stake 43 wickets है Cummins की just a tad more like when you compare it to a Shami but yeah overall it's going to be a very epic battle between these two individually and also collectively but let's quickly move on
This
to
is
the
just an
next
appetizer battle, man. The main course battles are later on. These are just appetizer battles. The fast bowlers, I don't
yeah
think, of course, they will play a role 100%. And I mentioned Cummins will play a
huh.
role. Main course battles of aane ke hai.
But again, when it comes to Dharamshala and those kind of wickets, then it's gonna be this is gonna be the main course, right?
Yeah, which I agree with, but you never know with India, man. I think that
Yeah.
depending on where the series is poised, they might say Dharamshala is a green pitch, magar, they'll play three spinners and suddenly you'll see the ball turn from day one. ये भी हो सकता है India के साथ. It depends on where the series is poised
But
because
again, अभी वैसे देखना पड़ेगा कि भाई WTC फाइनल हाथ हाथ में आना है and अभी अगर डीमेरिट वीमेरिट कर दिए ज्यादा रैंक
वो
करने जो
इब्राहिम
डाल
भाई
के सही
हमारे
ना
साथ
बना
कंफर्म करे वो कि आपको डीमेरिट खाली स्लो ओवर रेट के लिए होगा आपको पिचेस के लिए नहीं होगा इट वोंट इफेक्ट योर रैंकिंग
खो दो रे पिच चलो खो दो रे पिच
होने वाले हैं भाई खत्म है सीन यस सॉरी
Yeah, Siraj and Boland. Now these two are relatively new now in bowling, but little bit more inexperienced when you compare it to the kinds of Shami and Siraj, Shami and Cummins के हिसाब से अगर अपन देख रहे हैं तो इनला थोड़े छोटे juniors हैं. Siraj is having the 3 match in this border Gavaskar, but picked up 13 wickets. Man, you see that impact in just a year of thing. Like you mentioned, he had the lineup in Gabba and all of those places, and he was phenomenal over there. But yeah, if you're looking at the lens, and it's pretty much equal हो सकते हैं not much difference in these two kind of bowlers I mean it's more or less similar but yeah your thoughts on this
Yeah, I mean, this is just like a Kabul is so very early. These stats you can't do much about it because they're just very early into their career. Especially Boland, if you notice, he hasn't played Border Gavaskar at all, so we don't know how he's going to bowl in Indian conditions. We noticed him in the last 2 years at home in Australia. But yeah, I won't read too much into these stats compared to the other ones. The Cummins
and both of these guys if you see the similar things apart from this also they've played good amount of first class cricket like both of them have good
yes,
amount of red
very good point.
so वो देखो वहाँ पे 300 I think so सिराज के भी वहीं कहीं कुछ wickets है in first class cricket so
तो इसमें क्या रहेगा they have the potential to bowl longer spells sometimes you need to give your spinners a break if there's not too much turn on offer which I don't know if it'll happen but this is where these two can steam in and hold one end up just try and end up make sure that you bowl at a particular bowl to your field don't let any free boundaries come and then let your spinner from the other end attack so that's what this shows key like the amount of fast the first class matches that they played it'll allow them to play both those those longer spells because they have like that endurance that they've learned from the domestic game. That will definitely help them. For Siraj again, like if I see like he has 7 poles and 5 LBW, which is a good proportion, but of course he has more caught behind in caught compared to the ratio that Shami had. So let's see what happens in this series. But I think that bolt and LBW number will increase in this series from Mohammad Siraj in particular.
Yeah, I think because of those aggressive temperaments and those, sort of riling up and thing. But yeah, he always tries something very different. कुछ तो भी करता रहता उन्हें experiment just to sort of try and get a wicket. Moving along to the
Guys,
next. Yeah, you had a ball.
वो जो 20 कॉट है नहीं उसमें से आई थिंक 4-5 तो स्मिथ और लवुशन के लेग साइड पे जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया सीरीज में जो वहां पे हुआ था सीरीज थी Siraj had this leg side trap for both of them and because they do shuffle a bit and everything, so he had the leg side trap. And don't be surprised if you see that leg side trap again with the leg slip and fine leg, squared leg. You don't be surprised, you'll see some caughts as well, I think.
Well, let's see country-wise distribution of their wickets of Shami and Cummins. Like किधर कहाँ effective रहे. Obviously, at home both of them are beasts. That we can see 128 in Australia for Cummins and 67 for him in India. But yeah, I mean, if we're going towards country-wide distribution, this is how it pans out. And they've played quite a lot of cricket around the globe, and it clearly shows their level of experience.
Yeah, of course, 100%. And one thing that stands out for me is that Shami has actually played a lot in Australia, and he's done well. He's done well over there, and just shown India has actually traveled to Australia quite a bit in the recent times. And whenever there is assistance, like in South Africa as well, Shami's been really good. New Zealand, West Indies, Sri Lanka, wherever he's gone, he's picked up wickets. But of course, the main thing right now in this series it's in India. So he has 67 wickets there. He's your spearhead.
And आप subcontinent में देखो Cummins का ज़्यादा उतना नहीं है ratio of wickets. Like he's had decent amount of like 8 and 12. Again, we'll have to go and check कितने actually test matches खेले. But over just by numbers, if we're looking, subcontinent में उतना effective नहीं दिख रहा है.
मगर देखो वो जो 12 विकेट पाकिस्तान में, I count that as 24 wickets, bro, because the pitch itself is
wickets.
So yeah, I agree what you're saying. Like he's picked up wickets more in Sena countries. Lekin there's certain times I think that India number needs to raise a bit. I think it will raise in this series. So he'll pick up more wickets in India, and he should. Lekin that Pakistan 12 wickets for me is phenomenal, bro. Like he has 12 wickets there. वो भी एक ही सीरीज में एक ही बार गए उन लोग, राइट? तो एक ही सीरीज में उन्हें 12 विकेट लिया ऑन रोड्स. तो that's a very good, fine effort. If I'm Pat Cummins, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, and that road where she saw against New Zealand, that was the cement only, man. That was just
भाई ये उससे और था ये ऑस्ट्रेलिया सीरीज तो लास्ट टेस्ट मैच में जाके लास्ट डे पे रिजल्ट आया ना, तो पूरे दिन आई थिंक गुड 14 days of cricket in that series was all on roads, man. It was just flat. So, and Pat Cummins, I think in the last test match, he picked up the last wicket as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a very, very good performance from him, from Mr. Pat EC, Postman Pat.
Moving on to the final, I think comparison against Siraj versus Poland. Not a lot in it, but yeah, that's what I was talking about. That Poland has not bowled outside of Australia, and I mean, I could have put like respectfully, I could have put different countries, but 0. But I just said, let's put it out there, let the public know. Okay, by Poland, he's coming to India for the first time, and I just hope he doesn't leave a very big mark in India. But if you're looking at Siraj, at least he has different countries under his belt. He's done decent in Australia and subcontinent. He is a beast. England में देखो यार उन्हें कितना खतरनाक prove हुआ England में. And yeah, we have Poland over here at just 28. But again, don't cut the fact out that he has a lot of red ball in him, and he is capable of getting those wickets against big teams. We've seen South Africa, we've seen, we just saw West Indies as well recently, so back to back. So yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
When we were planning this, it was going to be Siraj versus Hazelwood, so there are more numbers to talk about. And
unfortunately, yeah.
But yeah, like with Poland, what can you do? You don't have he hasn't played outside, so you can't really compare. You can't compare the stats. He just played in Australia. But I would just say from what numbers we see, these are fine numbers, right? For somebody who's played only a handful of tests at the age of 31, 32, he's made his debut. I think it's a fine effort. Of course, he will be tested in Indian conditions, but like I said, it's going to be he's going to be an X factor of some sort for India, because India haven't played against him, and we've seen some new bowlers do trouble India, especially when they don't read them properly. So it'll be fascinating to see. Again, with the numbers, we can't make much of a comparison over here because we don't have much data on both of these bowlers. But Siraj, if I look at it, again, very impressive that in England, that record, he has 18 wickets. Australia also 13 wickets. So he has very, very good performances over there. In the subcontinent, you'd like to see more wickets, but again, his spells have been shorter. If you notice in that New Zealand series or even the Bangladesh series, his spell has been shorter. So that's why maybe he
Shorter.
hasn't wickets. But as time goes by, as the years go on, the more matches he plays in India, he will pick up wickets.
Yeah, I think just to start for someone like a Boland right now, I mean, he is, probably a lot of,
So
aged. He is 33 at this point of time, so he might have just 2 or 3 more years under him. Good years, I'm just talking about, but yeah, he can do a lot of damage in those 2 to 3 years.
yeah, Boland and has toured Sri Lanka and Pakistan, just didn't get to play Brahmbhai Singh. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was on both tours, so hopefully he learned something. But again, playing on the field, playing on the pitch, it's a different kind of ball game altogether. And he will be tested. Like if the sun is beating down, Virat Kohli's on 100, you're steaming in. How do you? And also, it's a mental game in India for a fast bowler. It's getting through sessions. It's a different kind of.
tired. Yeah.
The conditions are different. Sometimes there's nothing on offer as well for you, so you have to like use your brain, but at the same time you have to be physically strong and you have to power through. I think Boland has that mental strength in him. If you look at him as well, he's that just like, he looks like a soldier and is ready for battle. So I think he has that in him, but it will be a completely different test. Whereas in Australia, he has the whole MCG behind him, under lights, pink ball ke saath dal raha. Like it's going to be a different challenge over here. If you look at Australia A, you
Yeah.
might find bowling record with red ball outside Australia. Yeah, I mean, we will definitely look into that, and I'm sure, yeah, he has a decent record, but only time will tell now how he performs in India. And first, just your thought on that. I know we don't have stats on it, but just your thought on Umesh Yadav and Lance Morris, because potentially if they do get a chance, Umesh Yadav, we know he's done really well in Indian conditions. Asia mein jab bhi Bumrah absent tha, Umesh has led the attack. He's picked up wickets. He's been good with the old and new ball, but he's 35 now. I don't know if he can go through a full series. I could be wrong, but and then Lance Morris gives you that extra pace. So maybe you don't see him in the first game, but maybe potentially in Dharamshala you see someone like a Lance Morris.
Yeah, I think Lance is so very new. He has a lot of time in his hand when you compare it to an Umesh Yadav. But I think Umesh Yadav, the experience, like in India, as we always say, experience counts. I think he has 160 odd wickets in total. He has been, and we saw him against Bangladesh also. He bowled. He looked very young when he was bowling, and he was bowling with a good line and length. He maintained. He was probably one of the better bowlers, I think, in the second test. When you compare him to a Siraj, he was probably a bit more. He was getting those wickets as well. He got the breakthrough for us. So Umesh Yadav, you can't sideline this guy. He does have good, cutters on him, stuff like that. He does know how to vary it. Does know how to read conditions. When you compare it like a Lance Morris, not comparing, but when you think about a Lance Morris, obviously it's going to be interesting. Pace, obviously you're excited about pace, right? And this guy is 150. I know he has a lot of time in him. Just on the basis of BBL, अगर मैं देखूं, inaccuracy है, but very exciting prospect going into the future. Just needs to mold his line and length a bit more, and just needs to wait for his time.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point over there. To wrap it up, who do you think is going to be the leading wicket taker in the fast bowlers unit? From
In the fast bowlers unit from India, I think it's
no,
going
no,
to be
one.
Siraj
Give me
based on
one.
just what
Give
I've
me one. Give me one.
from both the sides.
Yeah.
I'll go with
Oh,
Siraj only because you gone with Pat Cummins. I'm going to go with Siraj based on his, rebirth or come back into this thing. The way he has proven himself, the way he has picked up crucial wickets. Being the leader, tailsman when you compare it to when Bumrah's absence and Shami's absence and everyone's absence, he's just been phenomenal. He's grown like by leaps and bounds. So मैं तो सिराज भाई के साथ जा रहा हूँ.
we'll go. Good shout, Siraj. Again, he's been in great form as well, and hopefully can translate that. And I'm telling you, like, although we've seen his form in white ball, his red ball is his best format. So it's a good shout,
Yeah.
man, with Siraj. But first, great job on the graphics. They were very intriguing and a lot of fun as well. And hopefully tomorrow we'll do another episode and we'll look at something else tomorrow. So do join us. Tomorrow we'll put the post in the community and on social media, so you can join us with your comments and questions. Thank you everybody for joining. Faiz, any last comments?
Last comments, just भाई 9th को जल्दी ला लो, नागपुर जाना है, संतरे खाना है. But yeah, I'm just excited, man. With while even when we're discussing ये जब graphics की बात करते हैं या stats की बात करते हैं stuff, it just adds to the imagination कि भाई कब शुरू होने वाला है, क्या होने वाला है, कैसा होना है, because देखो आप पास सीरीज पे जाते हैं stuff, but it's always that anxiety factor कि what's going to happen, you know, anything can change. Maybe India could beat Australia for 17, 20, 18 years, whatever it is, but Australia can come back and just destroy you. It's always that, you know, obviously you can just only anticipate and, you know, think, but when you're discussing and in the mix of things कि आप, you know, stats भी बात करें, आप अपने भाइयों के साथ जो यहाँ पे जुड़े हमारे साथ, उन लोगों के साथ बात करते, you just और बिल्ड होता कि भाई अरे यार ऑस्ट्रेलिया खतरनाक है, नहीं अपने पास भी होता है नहीं, तो इट्स जस्ट, यू नो, एडिंग टू द होल experience and just wait, getting more eager as the days come by, just waiting for that first ball on the Nagpur pitch.
Yeah, and also like the build-up that we're seeing, like, you know, the videos in the nets, some of the short snippets and press conferences or anything, it's adding to that build-up. You know, the way they're trying to tackle Ashwin by getting, you know, a look-alike and similar
Yeah.
release point and everything, and how India is also playing in the nets. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to Rohit Sharma finally leading consistently. I think he's only captained twice for India in Test matches, and he's missed like 2-3 series on the trot. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Press conference the day before, I'm very excited for that.
That's some kind of word exchange to hona bhai, some kind of, you know, like make it interesting. I know Rohit Sharma has a good way of handling the media. He सीधा देता, मैं सीधा बोल देता, भाई मैं 2020 से कोरोना में था, क्या बोल रहे हैं and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun, and yeah, just adds to that, you know, waiting factor कि कब खत्म होने वाला है, क्या होने वाला है, stuff like that.
100%. I will catch you tomorrow on the flip side. Take care of yourself. Everyone who joined us today, thank you so much. Make sure you join us tomorrow as well. The coverage for this and the build-up for the Border Gavaskar Trophy will continue on Chasing the Target, and we will discuss other games as well. Sunrise is right now 51 for 3 and 8.3. They need 110 of
My boy
69.
Temba Bavuma, let's go.
Bavuma is there at the wheel. If Sunrise win today, they qualify according to Ibrahim Bhai, and if and they also, I think, allow Mumbai to have a shot in qualification. So
Pretorius is already there, man. Pretorius is already there, and my match hai abhi next.
Yeah, so yeah, well, we will get you the latest from the cricketing world and the build up to the Border Gavaskar. Until then, take care, guys. Have a good night and stay safe.